the reality for me is that I don't really give a shit. I don't really care that much. I'll just say it and I'll do it regardless. It doesn't matter to me. And if I think this is an interesting conversation, I will have it. It's the same reason people got mad at me for watching that Nick Fuentes video. I want to say cry about it. Cry about it, get mad, make tweets about it, and I'll make content out of it, and that'll be my next video. So nothing that anybody does like that is going to have any effect on where I'm going to go or what's going to happen.
Alright, so if you haven't seen it yet, Nick Fuentes has undeniably been on a meteoric rise and is now winning over mainstream streamers. And one is obviously the one and only Asmongold. And I'm pretty sure Asmongold wouldn't say he's really into him or that he's a diehard groiper. I would say that he's slowly being won over though, where he's highlighting Nick Fuentes' clips as Nick continues his rise in the online mainstream political scene. And even so, Asmongold points out that Nick is far more popular than Hassan now is.
We've had 3 people on with complete opposite viewpoints. Hassan, Sneeko, Myron, Nick Fuentes. So what? And then,
okay.
Wait.
Those,
let me finish.
Don't loop me in with those
let me
guys.
Finish. I said opposite viewpoints.
Don't put me in the same category as these guys.
Let me finish.
I wouldn't. I'm pretty sure Nick's more popular than Hassan is. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. Based off like the amount of people talking about him and looking at him, yeah, I wouldn't either. Don't know what to say.
And honestly, all the people I talk to are saying this. Even normie friends, like the ones that aren't politically inclined at all, are for me sending me and reposting Nick clips on TikTok and Reels. And for my For You page, you can't scroll for 5 minutes without seeing some clip pop up. I mean, even Asmongold has taken notice of this, where he's not blind to it.
You know, like, how many times have you guys seen the picture of like somebody saying, I'm not signing up for the draft to go fight for Israel? A lot of people think that. You know who's been popping off a lot on TikTok? Nick. You know the Nick I'm talking about. Everybody knows. A lot of people have been talking about him.
And the fact that a mainstream streamer like him is even talking about Nick is huge. It even shows how much Nick is creeping into the broader conversation. Even the outside dark, rumble, political corners of the internet. And even though Nick wasn't really breaking into the mainstream at first, you could even say that everyone on the right was basically trying to handle Fuentes' encroachment into their spaces by pretending he didn't exist. And due to this isolation, he's kind of been doing his own thing and it's working. And since his massive wave of views from his Iran war coverage, he's forced himself into the conversation. And the thing is, Asmongold has been positively name-dropping Nick from time to time, giving him solid coverage of his takes and commentary. And it's pretty interesting because it's not just casual mention, it's also acknowledgement of Nick's ideas that aren't really mainstream.
So we have Joy Reid. She used to be on television. Now she's in her pantry. This looks like the kitchen actually, but that's okay. Here we go.
Nick Fuentes has
given some of the most interesting commentary on this. And by the way, I'm just going to sidebar here. Watching some of like Nick Fuentes' black stands, his black conservative stands gush over him on YouTube is actually gross. Y'all, snap out of it. Stop riding his jock. It's really gross.
She mad?
You know who you are. You know, just, oh my God, he's so, oh my God. I can look aside some of the things he says, but who cares? I'm more concerned about people who are lying to my face and pretending they like me than, you know, Nick Fuentes speaking facts. Okay, well, you know what, y'all, get off his jock. I don't know if you're...
What a lot of Karens like her can't understand is that men value authenticity and directness. Even if the directness is in contradiction to what they believe or in some way adversarial to them, they respect it in a way that they will never respect this talking around things, you know, like weird politically correct language. So the reason why a person like Nick gets respect, even from groups of people that he has negative things to say about, is that he's being honest with them and they don't feel like they're being patronized, misled, or lied to. That's the real reason.
Specifically about immigration. Take a listen to a little bit of what his commentary was on the 600,000 visas.
600,000 international students from China. 600,000 students from China. Are you tired of winning yet? Got what you voted for?
He's right. We shouldn't be accepting 600,000 students from China. Why not? Because those spots and those resources should be reserved for Americans. And I want to see American universities and I want to see American opportunities be reserved for Americans primarily. And I don't care whether the Chinese people put in more money. I don't care how much they're paying for tuition. What I do care about is the fact that these universities exist in America. They are benefiting from the American economy. They receive money from the federal and state government. And I think because of that, they need to operate in the best interest of America. And I would never criticize another country for having the exact same perspective. If China said, we don't want Americans coming over here and studying because we want to make sure that we have our resources that are allocated for our people, I would say I totally respect that and I understand it. For some reason, people in America are buck-broken, basically, and convinced that they have to give away all of their resources to the rest of the world, and that everybody in the world has a right to the American economy, everybody in the world has a right to American citizenship, and everybody in the world has a right to to American lifestyles, which is just simply not true. I don't have a problem with Chinese people coming over here. That's fine. It's whatever. But to just categorically say that you're going to have a huge amount of them that are going to come over from these universities and be in these universities. Meanwhile, you have people here who can't afford university. You have people here who can't get into university. What world are we living in that we are allowing these universities that, again, benefit from public funding? These universities exist because the United States is such a powerful institution.
And Asmongold isn't really doing this while vilifying him, where he's actually engaging with him, which is sort of a big deal in and of itself. So yeah, it shows like Nick's influences is indeed creeping into spaces that people thought he couldn't even touch.
I'm not really actually much of a racist, right? I think this is an example of when you allow double standards in society, is that double standards radicalize people more than anything else that could ever happen. You could have the average white person watch 15 Klan meetings, 10 hours of Richard Spencer, watch Nick Fuentes on the regular, listen to Kanye West's new album, and even watch AI translated speeches from Adolf Hitler. Even all of those things put together will not radicalize a person more than the Carmelo Anthony Official Fund. This gives sin to go. This would have never happened if they didn't do this Carmelo Anthony.
And Asmongold also references this in arguing that Nick is one of the most influential voices now in the online political sphere, despite being blacklisted from everything.
And because Nick Fuentes is self-described white supremacist and says that mixed couples are disgusting. Yeah, but I've watched Dr. Umar too. I think he's funny too. What's the problem with that? So what? They're racist. Okay, that's fine. They still say some funny stuff. And every once in a while they're right about something. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me at all. Yeah, I'm not arguing against it. Yeah, exactly. Well, I think Nick has been growing a lot, and he's been very popular with young people. And I think that the majority of people, like, it's undeniable that Nick Fuentes has been a very big lightning rod that has attracted and energized a lot of young people towards very conservative ideals. And to deny that is, I think, unfair. I think it's just simply, it's not true. That's really what it comes down to. It's not true. And so the reason why I mention him is because I think that among young people, I feel like he's probably one of the more influential voices. And I think that the fact of that, and also this is also despite him getting deplatformed, getting kicked off social media, being debanked, you know, all this stuff that's happened. Nick is modern fascism. It doesn't matter. Like, you're missing the point. Nick saying these things represents a tremendous amount of people. Whether you agree with it or not is not relevant. The fact that a lot of people agree with it is all that matters, because if enough people get together, they can do anything that they want. It's the reason why people have broken out of the matrix, is that now they don't have a monopolistic control over discourse. They can't control who is and isn't able to speak. It's now a free market. And that's what the internet has done, is they've created a free marketplace of ideas. The internet has created a free marketplace of ideas. You're so right, man. I'm 21 and Nick's everywhere around people my age. Yes, of course. I know that this is happening. It's obvious that it's happening. The only people that it's not obvious to are people who are lying to themselves. And I think that there's guys, like, I mean, I don't really have the same audience. Like, for me, like, my audience is definitely older guys, right? Like, I would say like 20s to 30s to 40s. But like, I think especially in terms of communicating with teenagers and communicating with the the lower 20s, I think Nick resonates with a tremendous amount of young men. And I think it's primarily young men. It's women too, but primarily men. Do you think that if he hadn't got banned off his platforms earlier, he'd be as popular as it is now? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. But yeah, anyway, so that's basically it.
And honestly, it does look like Asmongold, despite being pretty pragmatic in his politics, in my opinion, and mostly being quite center, can be seen engaging with takes that are more right adjacent. And he seems to be genuinely backing Nick Fuentes in some ways. I mean, if you go back, I think their first encounter together was that old debate with Hassan, Sargon, Destiny, and him on the panel.
You say he has a voice, but he says the wrong thing, and all these corporations bend to the will of media matters. Now, Joy Reid can say, like, homosexuals are abominations and all this other stuff, and that gets revealed. There's not a boycott. There's not an outcry. She doesn't even get fired from her job. So you go around trying to pretend like there's any kind of parody. It's just
I don't even like Joanne Reid. I don't know why you're bringing up Joanne Reid. I don't give a shit about her.
Listen, guys, please, give me a second. Guys, please give me a second here, okay? Listen, you will have time to rebuttal. If you have an issue with a certain thing, write it down. Let Nick finish all the way, and then you respond. And the same goes to you guys. Let Hassan and Destiny finish all the way, and then give your rebuttals. Please keep it this way.
The only times I try to interrupt is because I genuinely want to understand Nick's perspective, or if he's saying something that I'm not very.
There's nothing genuine about you. There's nothing genuine about your questions or anything about you.
No,
I don't know if that was entirely true, but can Destiny and Hassan, do you guys agree with Sargon that the majority of the mainstream media, right, the MSNs, CNNs, MSNBCs, Foxes, the majority is left leaning? meaning.
So yeah, you can see the origins of the amount of interaction back then. And fast forward to now, Asmongold is somewhat defending Nick in real ways. And he's doing this by publicly supporting Nick's right to have a bank account. Like, what other right-wing people like PBD or others are saying this? And that might seem small, but in this climate, it seems like a big deal. So it's a subtle kind of backing that he shows that he's not just name-dropping Nick for clout. He's really actively engaging and giving him some legitimacy.
Like, Nick Fuentes is the best example of this, right? Wow, what a surprise that Nick Fuentes can't get a bank account. Who could have guessed? But he should be able to get a bank account. He can get an internet subscription. He can get water. He can get electricity. He should be able to get a bank account, even if the people at the banks don't like him because he's a gay Nazi. Well, what's the logic that a gay Nazi can use the internet, but they can't have a bank account? Well, I feel like you should either be able to, okay, so it should either be both or neither, right? It doesn't even make sense. Yeah, what is this? You shouldn't have either? I think you should just, I think that unless you're breaking the law, you should be able to get the service. That's what I think. I think it's actually that simple. So about, I'm trying to think about how many years ago this was. 5 years ago? I feel it was like 4 or 5 years ago. 2021 says in a tweet. Oh, okay, yeah, I probably should have read that. And anyway, so Goldfish Memory, completely contradictory statement, only 2 days apart. And then some guy says, you work for Jews. And then Elon Musk responds to the accusation that you work for Jews by saying, while I don't condone the actions of one group, I must admit to being openly philo-Semitic. I don't know what that is. And generally trying to see the good in all people. And then in a response to that, this guy says, bring back Nick Fuentes on Twitter. He's been banned since 2021. What happened to your promise, big guy? Elon Musk goes and says, very well, he will be reinstated provided he does not violate the law, and let him be crushed by the comments and community notes. It's better to have anti-whatever out there in the open to be rebutted than grow simmering in the darkness. And so it's looking like Nick Fuentes is getting unbanned. And so this is what he says here. This will get enormous backlash, but if it's a free speech platform, I think it's the right move.
And the thing is, all this time, Asmongold has really only stuck to highlighting Nick in key moments. But the big one, when he actually covered Nick's tirade against Tucker and Candace's hit piece, honestly looked like he seemed squarely on Nick's side again. Yeah, and this time, Asmongold isn't just casually name-dropping him or acknowledge him in passing. He's now picking on moments where Nick is being attacked unfairly by Tucker and Candace, or at least what Asmongold sees as unfair, and stepping in to defend him.
I think this is what's happened with a lot of different voices on all types of the political spectrum, is that you have somebody that wants to ask questions about like obvious inconsistencies or problems, right? It's things like, for example, how is it America first if we're doing things that are in Israel's best interest? That is a legitimate, real question. It's not an anti-Semitic question. It's not an illegal question. It's not hate speech. It's genuine, honest, reasonable, and fair. And if you can't ask that question and they can't answer that question, that says a lot more about them than it does about you. Why is he so personal about this? Well, because Tucker Carlson called him a little gay boy from Chicago. I mean, I feel like that's kind of fair, right? I mean, you want to be personal. Personal is going to go both ways.
Last year, and I sacrificed, and I was targeted by the ADL, by the SPLC, by the federal government, by the conservative movement that both Candace and Tucker were a part of. Candace and Tucker had nothing to say about Israel until it became unavoidable last year. Not popular, but unavoidable. And now they want to gatekeep me out and do this personality attack and say I'm a bitter loser in my basement from Chicago. I'm a kid from Chicago. And they slipped up there because they forgot for 1 second that they're pretending to be the spokesperson for exactly that kind of person. Tucker's mask slipped, and he forgot for a minute that for 8 years he's been pretending to care about the plight of weird kids in their parents' basement who are broke and didn't go to an Ivy League school, living in cities that don't matter like Chicago, not like Washington, D.C. or L.A. or New York.
I think Nick is right about this, by the way. He is. And the fact is that there's a lot of guys out there, and this is where you're seeing a lot of this online resurgence and a lot of this online right-wing tilt. I think it's primarily from disaffected young men, primarily. And you see this constantly.
You were born to the Swanson family fortune and your daddy who ran the CIA. You know, my dad didn't even graduate college. My dad worked for the tollway. His dad died of a drug overdose in the 70s. My mother's father was a garbage man in Chicago, and he committed suicide. He was a veteran of World War II. Who's the CIA cutout? Who's the poser? Who is America? I am America. Chicago is America. That's an American story. I didn't go to Yale Law School and suck Peter Thiel's dick and then get a sinecure at a venture capital firm, advising Rebecca Mercer and writing Hillbilly Elegy and talking about it at the Aspen Institute. That's your biographical credibility? How many of these disaffected white people that love Trump because he's racist went to Yale Law School and got plucked out by Peter Thiel, whoever he even
Probably
is?
not a lot of them.
Peter Thiel with his fixation with the Antichrist. This homosexual who's involved with the CIA, who wants to live forever and govern the world with AI. Yeah, that's really relatable. That's really relatable. Do another show with him and Curtis Yarvin.
To be fair, I think Peter Thiel's great. He names all of his country or all of his companies after Lord of the Rings stuff. He funded that lawsuit to kill Gawker. Like, yeah, I think he's great. You know, funded Palantir, etc. And the Senate, yeah, he's crashing. No, he's pissed off, right? He is. He's mad. And I'll let me finish. I'll let it finish.
Do another show. Do the 47th show with JD Vance. It is insulting, and it is insulting to everybody's intelligence for Tucker to sit there and say he doesn't know his dad is in the.
I think that Nick is also mask-offing right now that a lot of these different identity struggles are actually class struggles in disguise. And you can probably notice that right now with like what Nick is saying, is that Tucker Carlson is criticizing Nick for things and attributes that are held by not people that are white, black, or anything. They're held by people that are poor without resources. And I think that's what's really radicalized a lot of people like Nick, and also a lot of people that are on the left wing too. They've been radicalized by these social issues and these identity issues, but the majority of these identity issues are actually class issues at heart. And you see that by the way that they insult each other. Because why would you insult a person based off of something that you don't care about and you don't think that they care about? So it's like, why would you do that? Well, obviously it's because either they care about it or you think that, you know, the other person cares about it. That's it.
CIA?
It's a class issue.
For him to say that I'm in the CIA? What a joke. What a sick joke. Especially after everything that's happened to me. And unlike what Candace Owens says, she says, what happened to him when he was 18? What happened to me is ongoing, okay? Unlike Candace Owens and Tucker, I never got a contract with Ben Shapiro and Rupert Murdoch. I was on Maker Support. I was on Patreon. I was on D Live.
Patreon, by the way, little fun fact, little, lore connection here. Patreon also was debanked, and they had the same problems. Dick Masterson talked about that. I think he tweeted at me about it, and they had the exact same issues. So the same problems that these video game companies are running into are the same problems that I think that, you know, he had for a long time. Dick Masterson. No, that's his. Well, I don't know if that's his real name, but that's what he uses on the internet. Okay, it's fucked. Yeah.
And I'm the inauthentic person. I am that person. I am a spokesman for the disaffected white man because I am one, and you two are not. Candace Owens got married to British royalty worth $200 million after meeting him for 2 weeks on Zoom. What the fuck is even that about? And Tucker Carlson's dad ran the CIA's propaganda empire fighting the Soviet Union. He went and fought with the Contras when he was in college. When I was in college, I was doing a webcam show in my friend's dorm room criticizing Israel. So who's the CIA cutout? Who's the inauthentic one? Who's the crazy, hateful one? I would never describe a well-meaning young white person who's trying to get ahead as a weird kid in his basement from Chicago. And what is that supposed to mean? What is wrong with being from Chicago?
I think that there's also a component to it as well, and this is true with any media personality, is that a lot of media personalities try to downplay each other because of market share. They don't want to see up-and-comers, get attention over them. They don't want to see people get any degree of notoriety in a way that they don't have or in a way that they can't achieve. And so when they see somebody doing well or succeeding, they oftentimes try to make fun of them and laugh at them or, make them look bad. I think another parallel to this is, remember all of the, Twitch-centric streamers that were dogging on and making fun of Aiden Ross in like 2021? And like everybody was joking around like, oh, this guy's an idiot, he's a loser, like he's dumb, etc. Like it's very common. And again, the reason why is that it's gatekeeping. I think that there's a tremendous amount of gatekeeping in media.
Yeah, so Asmongold's support is pretty subtle, but getting even that level of acknowledgement from a mainstream streamer is pretty significant. It looks like Nick has a solid guy who at least doesn't vilify him or treat him as a pariah, like PBD or Tim Pool, with Asmongold taking him in a solid light. So yeah, it would be pretty interesting to see them collaborate in the future, with Nick obviously having a lot of podcast appearances since his recent rise. And an appearance on Asmongold's stream would be pretty awesome, and catapult him into the normie crowd even further. But yeah, in reference to the old debate, Asmongold has been floating around the idea of hosting another debate with Nick, Sargon, Destiny, and Hassan again.
I've been listening and watching Sargon of Akkad since Gamergate, okay? I've known of this guy of 10 years. So, I remember I hosted a debate with him, Nick Fuentes, Destiny, and Hassan back in 2019. Make sure to give him a like. He's been making content forever, and give him some support. I think that his analysis is pretty accurate, and I also think that there will be 100% a reaction to this, and I think that it will be an extreme reaction. And yeah, there it is. Did you know that 94% of H-2B visa workers, you mean H-1B are low-skill jobs. I could have guessed that. I mean, I could have easily guessed that. Sure. And that was an insane debate, I bet. It was a fun time, man. We gotta do that. We gotta do that again. You know what? Like, we should do another one of those. Oh my God, that would be fun. And what would be that reaction? Yeah, there it is. And yeah, I learned it about Hassan through Sargon. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, there's a lot of that until the 1% gets affected, nothing will change. Well, I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. We'll see. 10 years of extreme voting, like the video, polarization is bad. Polarization is bad, but when people, the thing is that this topic is already extremely polarized, and what's happening now is that it's going to get even worse. That's really where things are going to go. You can do it on YouTube since Nick is banned on Twitch. Well, we could do it on Kick. Like, we just do it on Kick if we wanted to do it, right? It'd be easy. And so, like, yeah, it's not really a big deal. I mean, I'm pretty sure, I don't know, I have a feeling, I think 3 of the 4 would agree to it for sure. I don't think Hassan would agree to it. I think he would be the one that would not want to do that. And I don't mean to put him on the spot or anything, but like after the last debate, he was pretty, like, I think that he felt like unhappy or guilty that he platformed Nick. And in my opinion, I don't think that, or Fearless, thanks for 10 subs, I appreciate it. That didn't go well last time. Well, I'm just saying, like, put him on the spot. Well, no, I mean, he can make whatever decision he wants, but.
So yeah, that's pretty awesome. Anyways, let me know what you guys think, whether Asmongold would entertain that idea. Let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe, and comment. Peace.